Yo,
What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another video.
what's up?
Today, we're going to be jumping into a budget sheet where we spoke to an anonymous gentleman, and we're pretty much going to be running down his finances, his numbers, his income minus expenses, and kind of what he's got going on his budget sheet. And then we're just gonna kind of give our opinion on what we think is best. Of course, there's no right or wrong. This is just kind of what we think and what we kind of live by, what we go by. So
Yeah, initially it was gonna be having the person on, but I definitely understand, wanting to keep some, anonymous side to it because obviously you don't want your business out there, which totally makes sense. So this way, he can just watch back the video and take the advice that we give, whether he likes it or not, and then kind of go from there, depending on if he wants to take action on what we've done. Because we're just speaking off of experience, not necessarily saying we're perfect, but this is what we did and what we would have done if somebody asked us for our opinion or suggestions. So
that's all it is, just opinions. So we'll look at numbers and we'll really digest what we think, where what should change, what should be removed out of the budget, added possibly. But without further ado, let's get started. Excited
let's
for
do
this
it.
one, actually.
Yeah, it's gonna be really cool. Sweet.
All right.
Awesome. So I guess before I kick it over to you, Alan, the first thing I like to do is take a look at where an individual is at. Meaning like where's his net worth at? What is he worth? Where is he kind of positioned at, right? Because then that'll affect how you spend your month to month based on your fixed and variable expenses. So I guess scrolling down to here, um, his income looks to be $3,500 a month. Fixed expenses, variable expenses are up there like 3250. And he owes $26,890 and he has $500 in savings. So kind of gives me an idea of where he's at in terms of how much spending he could be doing. So with that being said, Adan, I think you can kind of jump into some of the expenses that he has going on in his month to month.
Yeah, so right off you mentioning that we look at what the net worth is, I do think that's very important just to see where you're at overall. Um, as far as income is concerned, he is roughly about $50,000 a year, if I did the math correctly. And he is cash flow negative currently, right? So what that is that when he's as he's earning money and he's paying off his fixed expenses and his variable expenses, he is roughly 147 positive difference. However, he owes a total of 26,890, as Adrian said. His total savings currently are $500. And if you subtract both of those numbers just right off the bat, you have a negative number because he owes more than he actually has in his possession. So that's definitely the first thing to highlight. I think that when you focus on being, of course, cash flow positive or net worth positive, I think that's where it really begins. The journey gets interesting. It seems like during looking at this budget sheet, it's almost tricky getting month to month by, right? At the end of the day, if you have $147 left, there's got to be something happening throughout this page that we're going to dive into and possibly some things to eliminate that can possibly free up some cash flow at the end of the day with the goal of eliminating debt as fast as possible. So let's go ahead and get started at the very beginning, bro, where it's just his income. So it's 1750 every paycheck, right? So it's $3,500 a month, which is it's great income for sure. We go over to rent and mortgage, and right off the bat, by looking at 3,500 comparison to 2,000, that's a very expensive rent, don't you think, Adrian?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, to be honest with you, that's honestly the world that we live in. Everything is so expensive, but to be honest with you, based on the budget that you have, you don't have the luxury of being in a location that might be very nice. Because I can guarantee you 2000 is a nice apartment. It's very nice. But the thing is that you don't have that luxury. Like you're not in a position to where you can have a nice place. Like you might have to struggle for some time in order for you to get out of the hole that you're in. Not necessarily a pretty bad hole, but 25,000 dollars plus of debt is definitely something that needs to take intensified focus. And the way that you do that is decreasing your expenses. Um, and your rent being more than 50% of your monthly income is definitely an issue.
For sure. So really quick, just doing math, I divided 2,000 by $3,500, which is his overall income, and I got a percentage of 57%. So as you said, yes, it's way over half of your income for the month, which means that you're living way above your means, just straightforward, right? Moreover, I mean, just looking at the highlighted main starred one is car payment. Like looking at that, if we take 2,000 plus 500 divided by the total, like you're paying, what is it? You're paying 71% of your paycheck directly to rent and directly to a car payment. That's insane. Like that's, it's definitely something where if your main goal is to build, if your main goal is to build your net worth, build your nest egg, and eliminate any stress of living paycheck to paycheck, like these are the type of things that you really have to look for. And I think that we just come from a very extreme standpoint where we have kind of gone through a little bit of that here and there, where we have had to sacrifice like no car payment, or we've had to sacrifice. Adrian, I know you're definitely a very huge advocate of that, but living with roommates, right? And if you want to just speak a little bit about that.
Yeah, I mean to kind of talk on that when I first moved out of my place and even to this day I've always lived with roommates and it really helps to cut down expenses because is it comfortable? No. Do I love it? No. Would I love my own place? Yes. But there's a lot more things that are at hand, like more important in my priority list. And right now, I don't have, I mean, yes, I could definitely get my own place. And it wouldn't affect me. I've gotten to a position now where I could definitely do that and enjoy that luxury, but there's still so much more goals that I have in place that can be achievable much faster if I'm living below my means. So you have to realize your financial power is your income. Like this is your strongest number one wealth creation tool, which is your income. And if all of that income is going into locations where you can't necessarily grow it or use that power to your advantage, you're already at a disadvantage. Here, let me see if I could draw something. So I don't know if this is going to work. I've never done this before, but let me see if this works. Yeah, okay. So let's say you have like a graph like this, and this is your net worth being zero, and we all start here. It's like you start making income, and then you make expenses, and then you make income, and then you make expenses, and then you make income, and then you make expenses. And then if you get a raise and you're starting up here, what people tend to do is they tend to increase their lifestyle like crazy, and they get a really nice car. Like for example, here, this gentleman has a car where he owes $24,300, right? That's 50% of his annual income, and he has that into a car. And immediately he took himself from here making good money, boom, all the way down here, where it's down here is called debt, right? And this is all negative. So now all of your focus and your entire work ethic, all of your financial power is literally now you're just working back to being zero. So you take so much time to get back to being zero. So you already put yourself at a disadvantage. So what you want to do is you want to get out of this negative debt to clear yourself up. So now when you come up here and you start to build on top of what you've already created, well, now you create buffer. So that way you're far away from zero. And now that you have buffer, now you can live a little bit more comfortably in a position where you're not necessarily afraid of what's going to come next. So I just kind of wanted to give some like, kind of some perspective on what that looks like.
I love that. That chart, it definitely speaks very loudly for sure. I think that when it comes to your income and expenses, it's all an equation, right? It's being able to spend exactly what comes in and nothing over, right? When it starts to get fun, and Adrian and I really like to emphasize this, is when you have money left over. So then you're able to invest it, invest into a class, invest into a mentor, invest into, stocks, Bitcoin. Like when you start to have positive cash flow, that's where it starts to get really fun because then you're able to front load your investments that then it rewards you over the long period of time. My brother and I, we're very, very huge on investing early. We're very grateful for the people that we met to have these type of things put in front of us. And it goes such a long way because I mean, after I know Adrian, you started younger, much younger than I did, but we've been in it for about 4 or 5 years now, and it's very like it's kind of boring going through numbers and focusing on it, but it's really important if you're trying to get to that next level. I think it's crucial, right? And that diagram just shows why you make 50,000, you want to spend like you're making, 10, 20,000 in order to get ahead. Because once you start getting piling into this debt, you're going to start feeling like somebody's crawling up on your back asking for this money that you borrowed on, right?
Yeah.
Um, like Adrian just mentioned that he, with roommates, it goes such a long way because you can cut your expense in a third, and then it goes such a long way to the point where, like I said, you're able to have more cash flow, which then allows you to invest much more.
Yeah,
The
I
other
think
items,
Oh,
go
sorry, go
ahead.
ahead. I just, before you moved on to the rest of the items, I just want to emphasize your income, like I said, is your financial power and it's your financial muscle to move you on to the next level. But if look at your muscle, how you're starting with, and look at how your muscle is ending at $147, your power just got so minimal, near to none. Like $147 a month, you can't do nothing with. You literally can't do anything. God forbid you have a pop tire. Well, now not only does your entire savings go away, but you get into more debt. Like you're put in a position where you're in complete like you're how do you, you're in submission to your income. And right here in this position, like you have no authority, you have no power to your name. And the reason why this is happening is because your money is going to nonsense that you can't afford. And this is not a shot to like the person that, this is this budget. I'm just saying in general, social media has created such an inflated lifestyle that it makes you feel like you're falling behind if you don't have a nice car, if you don't have a nice place, things like that. But your life should be determined based on your budget sheet. So your budget sheet can then show you what kind of life you're living. So this person right here is living a life that's a little bit more inflated than what his numbers are showing because the numbers don't lie. So that being said, Alan, you can
Right.
kind of go into what you were mentioning before you say that though. I wanted to did highlight Alan and I both agree that your rent is way too high. You need to find something less expensive, and if that means finding something less quality, going down something that's not as luxury, then that's something that you're gonna have to do.
For sure. Before I move on, I do want to mention that I really appreciate this gentleman for allowing us to go over his numbers.
Yeah.
I think step number one is finding out that there is a problem somewhere in your numbers, right? Because a lot of people go years and decades just this is how do I say it? This right here is what is normal, right? If you want to get to the next step, the next level where you focus on what you spend, you invest aggressively as much as you can. You can't be the norm. Like you have to make these sacrifices. No, you're not getting a brand new car. No, you're not getting a car note. You have to live below your means. Like this is the step number one, right? In my page, I posted the other day, the wealth ladder. The step number one of the wealth ladder is this right here. Your numbers, right? $3,500 a month is great income, as we mentioned. You're able to work with this a ton. You have to really stay disciplined on the delayed gratification part. You can't just, oh, I want a new car or, oh, I get a raise. Let me spend on this or that. So anyways, we'll go ahead and just jump to the rest of the items.
I think you should
As
stay
you
on
can
that topic because that's one of the biggest expenses he has. You talked about car notes. So what do you think about this gentleman having a $24,000 car?
Yeah, as you mentioned, this is about 50% of their total income for the year. That is way too much. I do believe that if he wanted to spend on a car like that, I do think that he would have to front load. his savings in order to get there. Even then, it's still a tricky purchase. Again, just because numbers don't lie, and when you look at a number, $25,000 roughly on a $50,000 income, that's kind of a lot of money, right? I mean, that's 6 months of your hard-earned money, right? In my opinion, I would go for something maybe a third, maybe like 10,000 possibly, and pay it off. Stick with that car for as long as you can, as long as it gets you from point A to point B. And that way you have more flexibility in your cash flow, which then allows you to invest. The word is invest, guys. Like seriously, that's the most important thing. I say it so many times. How can you invest when you don't have any money left over? Like there's
Say
no
it again.
way. How how can you invest when you don't have any money left over? You have to find the way to cut down your expenses, invest as much as you can, and sacrifice the first 3, 5 years to just go all in on investing. Because over the long period of time, the same way interest will get you holding a car note for 5, 10 years is going to be the same way that it can work with you, right? When you invest, you can get this percentage right back to you, and it works wonders. It works wonders for sure.
But
Um,
honestly, one thing that I want to say, Alan, is you're 100% right. But if you're in a position like this, invest is not even in your book. Like I'm gonna be so honest with you, because
mhm.
in my opinion, investing is irrelevant. Why are you gonna focus on trying to get a 6, 7, 8% return a year when you have a 19% credit card interest? Like if you're in a position like this, your goal is to get out of debt. So don't even
Yeah.
like try and I'm gonna I'm gonna worry about the debt later. I'm gonna invest so I can grow. No, like get rid of your like this is 6% on your car. This is
Mhm.
19% on your credit card. Like
Yeah.
investing is down the road when you get out of debt. Right
Yeah.
now, your
No, that's a great
focus
point. That's a
is to
great
just
point.
get out of this. So Adana was very nice. I won't be. You got to sell your car, bro. Like, what is this? $24,000? You don't have that type of money, that luxury. Like Adana said, buy a $10,000 car, and it's not like Dave Ramsey say. It shouldn't get you to point A to point B. It should get you to point A to work and back. That's what it should be. Because right now it's no B, it's work, and then it's like chicken and rice, rice and chicken. So I noticed up here just kind of like bouncing around. You're eating out $300 groceries. Like this is a luxury a budget. Like you don't have that luxury to be doing this. So it's like if you're eating out, that shouldn't you should be if you're eating out a month, that's like $100 your budget. Like you don't have a position to be in where you could just spend $300 eating out, $300 grocery. You should be eating at home, chicken and rice, rice and chicken. Even your groceries, you spending like you getting some lobsters in the weekend, getting some T-bone steaks, like no
We're
chicken and
doing
rice,
that.
rice and chicken.
We're doing that good cop, bad cop type thing.
Nah, for real, because it's got to
No,
be
you're right
said.
though.
Because
You're right though. I haven't mentioned that at all. But yes, debt is going to be number one with the interest rate. So I'm glad you brought that up. But yes, jumping around. If you go scroll over, Adrian, yeah, right here to the
where to?
left.
Left?
Fix expenses. Yeah.
Mhm.
So we look at like subscriptions, right? Netflix should be gone. Membership, of course, if you're going to the gym, good for you. Internet, understandable. Car insurance, okay, I understand. But what is this? Water sewage, good. Oh yeah, I got to get a fresh cut. I understand. I do understand that. I think the main things here are going to be, like you said, the eating out. It's going to be the credit card with 19% just destroying you, and then the car payment for sure. So I do like that. It's a little bit more extreme, Adrian. Getting rid of the car, sell it, downgrade. That will help tremendously. But this credit card, that 19% really does scare me.
So with debt, what you want to do is you want to call. Then this is not me. This is Dave Ramsey's Total Money Makeover book. Your debt should be killed little by little, smallest to largest. Now, yes, here they have a phone payment that's they owe on their phone $720, but that should be irrelevant when you have something like 19% interest. This should be the first thing that goes. Like you should be cutting your expenses, eating chicken and rice for the next year, and you're like pretty much just struggling it out. You shouldn't have any luxury of Netflix, none of this, like no luxuries. You need pay off, like get a new place. Like you need to cut this down so you have more buying power at the end of your month. And all of that is going to be go to knocking this out. This is your number one focus right here. 19% is outrageous. This should be knocked out within the next, like as fast as humanly possible. And then once this is done, you can honestly get started on your car. I don't know if you would agree, Alan. The only reason why I say I wouldn't go to 720 is because there's no interest on this. If there's no interest, like it's fine. Like you could just keep paying it off monthly and then focus on getting this down. Now, of course, if you sell your car and you only get a $10,000 car, maybe you're going to be in debt like 14K, like 13K, whatever, because I'm sure the car depreciated. So that way your money can be going to eliminating these to be at zero. Now, your car doesn't necessarily need to be at zero until you start investing, but it's most of it should be there. Like you, because I know sometimes it's a little bit difficult to break this down, but it shouldn't be this high. So 14K you should be able to clear in like a couple years, if that. What do you think, Alan?
No, yeah, I'm right there with you. 90% should be gone. Focus on the auto loan. If you're gonna stick to, pay off that loan, if you want to keep the car, just throw as much money as you can to pay that thing off. I know it is controversial with a lot of people where they're like, oh, why would I pay it down if I can make this money in this or doing that? And I think, to each their own, but in my opinion, I think that this specific person right here is probably going through some stress every month because they don't have that peace of mind. They don't have their finances in control, unfortunately. And I think that being able to get a different perspective from other people who are okay looking at numbers and realizing that there's an issue, but then it's like, what do you do after that? Do you downgrade and get roommates, pay less? Do you sell the car? You can sell the car too and just downgrade and get like a $5,000 car. So there's many different ways you can go about this for sure. It just depends what you're willing to sacrifice. But all in all, definitely cut down expenses. And then the goal is to see this number scroll down. The goal is to see that cash flow number total difference go up, right? If you have 1,000, let's just say if you have $1,000 every single month of cash flow, you're able to start saving, investing more, and then more importantly, like you said, you're able to knock down most of that car note, right? Once you have the car note knocked down, and then I mean, let's go ahead and just plug these numbers in, Adrian. We kind of went over everything. Let's just say that fast forward 2 years, he
But
went ahead and
before we do that, I did want to say maybe I did go too fast because to be honest with you, before you start attacking this, you want to bring up your savings to 1,000, and your savings should be zero, and that 1,000 should be your emergency fund because you want to have something just in case because things happen, like life happens, and that's gonna happen to many people. So you don't want to be put in a position where you're really screwed, right? So you want to make sure that you're okay first, your emergency, and then start dumping all of your money to pay off this debt. So that, because I don't want you to pay off all your debt, like putting everything, every penny you have to your debt, and then wasting this. Even if you put like your $500 into this, you'd still have a lot of debt, and now you'd have $0 in the bank. God forbid something happens and you're left screwed. So just make a good pillow before you
good
start
note.
throwing all your money to your debt.
Yep, good note for sure.
But yes, two
Um,
years down the road, your emergency deposit would be $1,000, and then what else, Alan?
let's go ahead and say that he sold a car. Let's just say that he decided to downgrade. He'd take the $500 off, take the total owed,
It's
and
probably
like,
like 12,000 if you bought a $10,000 car.
okay,
Because the car he paid 25K, let's say, but it's probably worth 20K now. So it's like
okay,
if he buys like $8,000 car plus 5K, he's probably paying like what, 13? So let's put
yeah,
13.
all right, and then let's just say that his payment went down too.
Yeah, 100%.
Let's do, I'm not sure, whatever, 200,
250.
250. Yeah, 250.
And oh,
Let's say that he also moved out. Let's say he started rooming with somebody else. He started paying less money. So let's say his mortgage went down to 1,300. Let's just say.
which is still a lot.
It's still, yeah, it's still a lot, but hey.
Well, it's not in now today's day and age, but if you got like a lot of roommates, you could bring that down to 1,000. But hey, let's just keep it at
All right,
13.
scroll down. Let's look at the reflected number.
Honestly,
Just
his
by
interest rate would probably drop to like 4% if he was doing 13K instead of 25K because he wouldn't borrow as much, you know.
Go ahead and scroll down.
I forgot what his car insurance was at.
It was
110?
at
100?
100.
Okay, cool.
I think it was 100. Yeah. Scroll down.
No more Netflix
800.
money, little
Yeah,
bro.
yeah. Take, yeah. 860. All right, well, let's leave it at that. Those two things, which are the main, the main costly items in this sheet. If you scroll down, the total difference is now at 865. Like
Darn.
the difference is insane, right? You take the 865, you have your emergency fund, you're able to start applying even $500 a month into those, the car note, the 19% credit card. You're able to knock these down quicker. That way you're not being charged monthly interest over time. Like it's almost like you're working backwards. So
Yeah.
that's the goal here. The
It
goal
ain't
here is to cut
500.
that.
You have $1,000 savings. You better throw that whole 875 into debt, knock this out. You can literally
Yeah.
knock this out in 3 months. Like
Yep.
19%
Especially
is crazy. That's robbery.
for sure. And we mark down pretty much everything else, give or take, on his variable expenses.
Nah,
So
that
even
even that
then,
gotta
that's
drop to
still
100.
no,
He
for
can't be
sure.
eating
But what I'm
out.
saying is that even then, with 300 groceries, 300 eating out, like even then, like you can still wiggle your way out of cutting down your expenses. And short term, this isn't easy. Short term, this is more like you have to stay disciplined. But over the long period of time, this is a game changer right here. This is a wealth hack. This is how it begins. You need to focus on what comes in, what comes out. And, once you have the cash flow positive monthly, this is when it starts to get fun because then you can invest in yourself. You can really focus on a class. Of course, don't get into debt for it, but like invest in a course or invest in a license or like things like that, right? You have the cash flow to be able to help with that once you pay off your debt. And then you increase your income,
Mm.
but also keep everything the same.
You just gotta raise, bruh. 4,000 a month now. Now
He
we
got a
talking
raise. Hey, he
1465.
got a raise
Okay.
because he got a license and this and that.
Yeah, no, for real. But now that you got a raise and you have a more of a leftover money, it don't mean okay, now we hitting up the Gucci store. Nah,
Yeah,
we
not
we
at
hitting up
all.
Ross. All right. We hitting up
Yeah.
some Ross, getting some tank tops, getting some shirts, some calm. All
This
right. Like,
feels good right here.
bro,
This 1500 will feel great,
feel
but it's
amazing.
like that's where it sets you apart. Don't just fall back into I'm gonna go buy another brand new. I'm gonna upgrade phones. I'm gonna get a
Yeah,
new
yeah,
car.
no,
Like
we keeping it down low because see now that you got your 1,500 a month now left over, now your power has just went up tremendously. Because now think about how much. So literally, if your monthly or if your not your total debt is like 15,000 and you're having 1,500 nearly every month left over, 10 months you're out of debt. But if you had left, if you only had those 100 bucks, 140 bucks, let's call it 150 bucks a month, that would take you 100 months to knock out your debt. Like
yeah,
what are we talking about? So the
yeah,
moment you have more left over, well, now your power is higher. So in 10 months, you're out of debt. And then in another 10 months, you have an extra $15,000 in the bank. Debt free, 15K in the bank. Now you can really start to build on top and create that buffer that you were talking about.
that's exactly right. I do want to mention this is not financial advice. I do want to mention we're not financial experts. This is just simply our opinion, what has worked for us, our trial and error, the mistakes we have made, where we learned where it does not make sense to overspend on certain things. It is always best to be able to take control of your finances, of your numbers, and know where your money's going. Be more intentional with what you spend on. That way it just feels much better. Thank you to this gentleman for allowing us to kind of go over his numbers. I think step number one is realizing there's a problem. And from there, the sky's the limit. Simple as that.
Yeah, one last thing before I close out is when you do get this amount, you want to focus on paying off the debt. But when you do have zero debt, let's say this turns into zero and you finally finish paying this off, now you have 1465 coming in. But what you have to do is you need to increase your emergency fund. So once your debt goes to zero, you can't leave your emergency fund at 1,000. You should put this a 6 to 8 months worth of expenses.
Yeah, great
Oh
point.
gosh.
Things here.
So that way, okay, so look, your fixed expenses is 1830 and your variable expenses, what does this equal out to? This plus this equals, so 2515 is what you're spending a month, let's say, on your fixed and variable expenses. So do 2515 times 6 months. That's 12, like that's like what, 15,000?
Yeah, right. Yeah, give or take.
15,000. So you should have $15,000 just as an emergency fund. Because again, God forbid something happens, you break a leg, you lose a job, you at least have 6 to 8 months that you're okay. Like you're fine. Like you're not gonna go hungry, you're not gonna go homeless. Like you're okay. So that way you have enough time to get yourself back up onto the horse. And this 15,000, don't just leave it in your bank account. Put it in a high yield savings account to get 3 to 5%. That way you're making money off of this money, but the intention isn't really to do that. It's just to have a pillow under you so you feel okay. It's like you walk into your boss's office, they tell you something, you better watch your tone. I got a savings account. Like you just walk into your office feeling like a little different. You walk with your chest up because you
Yeah,
feel good. Like
you're in control.
nobody can knock you down. Like you got a good savings account. So everybody better watch their tone when they talk to you. Because the whole point of this is just like making you feel good and not like paycheck after
Yeah,
paycheck and like
yeah,
worrying every month, like, oh my God, am I gonna be able to make it? Oh my God, am I gonna get a negative fee on my bank because it's below? Like, no, you want to feel
yeah,
good. And I'm telling you, your self-image will climb through the roof when you get settled here. So
yeah,
that's the last thing I wanted to say. Just so after then you have emergency deposit, you don't touch that. It's not like, oh, like they just dropped a new Kia, like, I could upgrade cars. Nah, like this is just emergencies.
yeah.
And then put it in a high yield savings account, making 3 to 5% APR, annual percentage. What is it? Annual
It's
percentage?
APY. APY.
APY, annual percentage per year. I don't even
Any
know what it's
energy,
called.
yeah, annual percentage yield,
Yearly.
annual percentage yield, something like that.
Okay, or
But
yield, yeah. But that way you get 3 to 5% a year. So let's say it's 5%, you make an extra what, $300 a month or a year?
a year.
So every year, so divide that by 12. What is that? 300
So
divided
it'd
by
be
12.
450,
25
3%.
bucks. So every month this pays you 25 bucks. Now again, it's not for you to like, oh my God, I'm making some good money. Like, no, it's just so you can have an emergency deposit and it's at least making some money rather than just being in the bank. And then after you do that, now we can talk about the next step, which would be investing into many other things. Not necessarily doesn't even have to be the stock market, just in general, investing to grow your income, grow
Yep.
your savings, whatever, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera.
I do like that you said that your self-image increases because it's the truth. You're in control of your finances. You do not stress month to month when a bill comes, right? Yeah, you walk into your job knowing that you are in total control of what's coming in, what's coming out. You're able to enjoy much more, right? Once you get to these steps, you start to really be intentional with your money. You're able to, go out a little more often if you like, right? Once you get to that point, I think that's where it starts to get really enjoyable rather than sticking to a payment every month, right? And living the paycheck to paycheck and not having enough money, having to go into credit card debt just to be able to pay off groceries or pay off this, pay off that. So, anyways, I
Yeah.
think this is a great video for sure. I feel like we touched a lot on what our opinions and what we think about budgeting and kind of this person's situation.
I agree. Yeah, no more going out till this is all done. If your friends want to hang out, you
You're the
invite them
bad
over to your
cop. You're the
if
bad cop for
if your
sure.
friends want to hang out, invite them over to your place, play some board games, something that ain't gonna run you no money. So, until you're out of this, you be good, bro. But I'm only doing this because eventually it's gonna feel so good when he's out of it. Like, oh, it's just that feeling is like nobody can tell me nothing.
That's right. That's right.
So,
Thanks again to this person. Greatly appreciate it. We love looking at numbers. We love the help. We want to help as much as we can. And yeah,
yeah, hopefully you took it all love. Obviously, it's me being a little bit silly, but also being, direct. So hopefully you took it the way you were supposed to, and hopefully this adds a ton of value to you. And can't wait to follow up with you, be your accountability partner to,
That's right.
create
Even
riches. This
AP.
is the start of it all. Yep,
That's right.
awesome. All right, bro. Any closing thoughts?
Nope. I'm all set.
All right, let's do it. Have a good rest of your night. All right.
Have a good night, bro.